Okay, in this video we're going to show how to secure C-phrase. So what we're primarily interested in here is securing channel A and channel B. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to configure the C-phrase EC2 with HTTP or encrypted access. Therefore, all the packets that are going from the web front ends, the browsers, will be encrypted. The way we're going to achieve this is in 4 steps. The first step is to map some registered subdomain to your EC2 internet address. After that, we're going to install certificates using Let's Encrypt. After that, we're going to reconfigure the web server on the EC2 so that it's set up for proxies. Finally, in step 4, we will set up proxies for the natural language interfaces that are going to be running on your EC2. Okay, here we show just a launch of the standard C-phrase AMI. So we just go in here and we just launch a micro here. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is the launched EC2, we're going to copy its IP address. Now we're at step 1. So what we're going to do here is take that IP address and we're going to plug it into our DNS configuration so that we have a subdomain pointing at it. Now what we're going to do here now is we're going to go over into our DNS, where we specify DNS records, and we're going to add in a link called demo. So this is a subdomain called demo on the cphrase.link domain, which we have a registration for. And then we're going to paste in, of course, the IP address of the EC2 instance. Okay, create that record. So this should not take too long to percolate through the network. And once it's in there, then what we want to do now is one final thing. We want to go into the security policy here, and we want to add in that it's listening on HTTPS and HTTP. So listening from anywhere. So we're going to open up the web server, both under secure and non-secure for that EC2. Okay, so now let's just verify here. So if we now visit in incognito, we actually get in using the link, the demo.cphrase.link domain, and we got in. So now we've reached step 2, where we're going to install certificates from Let's Encrypt. So to do this, we're going to SSH into our EC2, and then we're going to run the certbot, and then some cleanup stuff, and then restart the web server. First, let's SSH into our EC2. So now what we're doing here is we're going to go in and we're actually going to get the certificates. So what we just did right there is what we're going to do here is we're going to run the certbot, and we're going to answer some questions here. Like first we have to put in, we have to put in the command line the domain, and now once we put all this in, we just answer these questions, and it's going to actually deploy the certificates. So now we've actually gotten certificates, and then one last little thing that we want to do here is we want to run this renewal bot, and then finally what we want to do is we just want to restart the server, the web server. Okay, now that we've done all that, now we look in here, and then sure enough, if we access it through HTTPS, we get in. So the certificates are working. So now what we need to do is we need to actually configure this for proxies for C-phrase NLIs. And this leads us to step 3, which is mostly about copying this HTTPS.default file, which comes along with C-phrase, and then customizing it with the domain that you're using. So we are going to go in here, and we're simply going to go to the, we simply are going to go in here, and we're going to copy over a default HTTPS configuration. So this configuration is explained, but what we have to do here is we have to go into the actual file and then just do a search, a full replace, this is a nano, a full replace of domain, capital domain, with the actual domain that we're putting under, so demo.cphrase link. All right, so that's going to do a global search and replace there. Now that that's done, we're now going to just check to see if everything's okay, and it is with the configuration, and now we're just going to restart the Nginx web server. Okay, so that's been restarted, and now we can actually log in with full security, full HTTPS security into the C-phrase admin interface. And this leads to step 4, where we're going to set up the proxies for our NLIs. So now we're in there, and now all we need to do now is to configure the proxies on the natural language interfaces. So if we go in here, what we can see is that in the geo, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of systematically here change the port. The proxy is going to be the 8000, which it's open on, and the port is going to be 9000, where the interface is actually running. And now we're going to do the same thing with the personal information manager. And then now that we have full security here, we're going to change. We can just change the password. Okay, so this is being encrypted. No one can sniff out us changing the password here. We're going to change the password here to then MJAM, and then we're just going to put in kind of a random password here. All right. So the password goes in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to start the PIM server. So we start the PIM server, and notice when we start it, it's going to be running on port 9002 and the proxy at 8002. Okay, so it'll be encrypted up to 8002, and then it will kind of convert over. So let's just kind of log in here now with that password we had, and now we're logged in, and now we're logged in securely into the PIM interface, and we can go from there. All right. Now there is one last little thing we would like to do, and that is we just want to turn off the connection, or the open port on 9999. Okay, so now that that's been done, now we can say that this C-phrase server is fully secured. Okay, thank you for your attention.